Hello, my name is Virginia from Mediana. Today I'm going to introduce Mediana's D500 manual defibrillator. The defibrillator comes with easy-to-use monitoring features. Also, it has various functions such as AED mode, external pacing mode, and the capability of NIBP SPO2, temperature, IBP, and ETCO2 measurements with biphasic technology, which is the most current defibrillating technology. The pictures are of the accessories that come with the basic configuration of D500, and depending on options, some additional accessories will be included. Before using D500, please check if all of the accessories are included, and if so, the main unit and accessories are not damaged. Let's take a look at the main unit and its components. Looking on the front, you can see here the 5 soft keys, 11 buttons, and 2 knobs, used for its simple operation. For the details of each button and its function, we will review it soon when I talk about its operation. To see the top panel components, you mainly see the paddles that deliver the shock and the buttons on them. One of the main advantages is that you can control the defibrillation with both buttons on the paddle as well as with the buttons on the unit. So with these 4 buttons on the paddles, you can adjust desired energy level by pressing the plus and minus buttons, charge and deliver the energy, and finally print out measured data by the record button. To see the components across the rear panel, you can see 2 battery slots and the push buttons. You can operate D500 with 2 batteries, 5 hours of battery life for each, so you have 10 hours of operating time with 2 batteries. And also, you can use this power supply in the left slot. Between 2 battery slots, we also have a speaker, so you can hear a prompt, DC input connector, ground terminal, and AC power inlet. For the additional components, you can see the side option case to the right, and to the left, we can integrate Wi-Fi or 3G module and USB slot, so we can upgrade the unit, and finally, the SD card slot for data transfer. Now let's see the screen and talk about the configuration of the display. As you can see here on the screen, you can benefit from this well-organized display with the clear waveforms and big bright numbers which are quite legible. First of all, across the top from the left, you can see the shock count number, defibrillator message, so you can check the instruction when defibrillating, battery status icons, operating time, and Wi-Fi 3G icon, so we can check if it is connected with Wi-Fi or 3G. Next, we can see 2 parts, numeric information to the right and waveforms to the left. You can change the waveforms depending on what you want to see and the colors, and also you can change the color of the numeric value. Finally, there is a message area at the bottom, so you can receive messages and alarm status, which will be displayed while monitoring patients. Now we will go through the power supplies and how to use them. You have 3 different types of power supply: AC power, DC power, and battery. First of all, for the AC power, make sure that the AC outlet is properly grounded and supplies the specified voltage and frequency. After you plug the male type connector end of the AC power cord into a properly grounded mains outlet, please verify that the battery charging status LED and AC DC in LED on D500's front panel is lit. For the DC power, actually, the external DC power source can be used when D500 is used for emergency conditions in a moving car. You can connect an external DC-DC adapter to D500 rear panel connector identified with the DC power symbol. And then please verify that the DC power input icon appears on the screen. Battery charging status LED and AC-DC in LED on D500's front panel is lit. Finally, for the battery use, D500 has the rechargeable battery that can be used to power D500 when AC power source or external DC-DC adapter is not available. The battery status icon appears on the screen when D500 is on battery. Let's see how to use the accessories for the different parameters. Simply, we have 7 different types of accessories for the different parameters: defibrillation pads, ECG, SpO2, NIBP, temperature, ETCO2, and IBP. First of all, for the ECG, all you have to do is connect the ECG cable to the ECG connector. Also, we have defibrillation mode, so you can connect a paddle or pads to their connector on D500's front panel. Finally, we can place the paddles or pads to the patient's bare skin, and that is all you need to do for the defibrillation. For NIBP use, we need NIBP hose and the cuff. First, we have to select an appropriate size cuff for the patient, and then connect the hose to the NIBP connector, making sure to tighten the connector in the clockwise direction. Last, you can attach the cuff to the end of the hose. For SpO2 use, we need the SpO2 cable and sensor. First, select an appropriate sensor for the patient and desired application, and then connect the extension cable to the SpO2 connector on the D500's front panel, and finally attach the sensor to the end of the cable. For temperature measurement, we have a temperature probe, skin or rectal type. First, select the appropriate probes for the desired application, and then connect the temperature probes to the temperature connector on D500's side option case. For ETCO2 measurement, you can use a genuine Respironics CO2 sensor and then connect mainstream or side stream sensor to the CO2 connector on D500's side option case. Finally, for the IBP measurement, IBP transducers are needed. First, you can connect the interface cable for the transducers to the IBP connector on D500's side option case. An interface cable for the transducer has to be selected correctly, as it depends on the transducer type. And then finally, set up the patient circuit according to the directions for use of the transducer monitoring kit and IV set. D500 has 4 different types of modes: manual mode, AED mode, monitoring mode, and external pacing mode. And we can select the desired mode by rotating this mode select knob. In AED mode, you can actually operate AED mode with the voice prompt. In defibrillator mode, you can operate the defibrillation with 2 types, sync mode and async mode. D500 has a monitoring mode, so you can check the patient's status with 3, 5, or 12 lead ECG and other vital signs, depending on your options. And external pacing mode is used to deliver pacing pulses in either sync mode or async mode. We have 3 different types of display configurations: 4-channel wave screen, large numeric screen, and black-yellow invert screen. And you can choose one of these types as you see fit. For example, when you have D500 outside and it is bright, you may want to choose this black-yellow invert screen for better visibility. Let's see how to change alarm settings. When D500 detects certain conditions that require user attention, D500 enters an alarm state, and D500 response is indicated by audible alarm indication. Physiological alarms including identification of out-of-limit vital signs and technical alarms. And furthermore, 3 alarm priorities: high, medium, and low. To adjust volume, we can go into Setup menu and Volume menu. Then you can adjust the volume by the multifunction knob. You can set the different alarm limits for each parameter. Across the bottom of the screen, there are 4 different soft key menus. Now let's see the alarm limit in Alarm Settings. Here we have a table of alarm limits, and we can set different limits for all parameters by this multifunction knob. When an alarm occurs, we can pause the audio for the audio pause time, but visual alarms continue during this time. The factory default for audio pause time is 30 seconds. To pause the audible alarm, we press the alarm button to immediately pause the alarm tone. The alarm resumes after the audio paused period if the alarm condition has not been corrected. During the pause period, you can press the alarm button again to re-enable the audio tones. AED mode is actually intended for normal users so they can treat patients with sudden cardiac arrest. For that reason, it focuses more on usability. With this AED mode in our D500, people can easily treat the patient following its guide, even if they are not actual medical experts. First, remove clothes to expose the patient's chest and place the electrodes to the patient's bare chest. Make sure that the pad's packaging is intact and within the expiration date shown, and apply pads to the patient as directed on the pad's package. We can perform AED operation following the guide with action icons and voice prompt, and actually, this guideline complies with the AHA 2010 guideline, the recommended CPR guideline from American Heart Association. These 7 steps are what you will see to follow when performing the AED mode. After verifying if the AED mode is activated, these action icons will be displayed step by step with the matched audible guidance that you can see right next to each action icon. All you have to do is just follow these steps.
Are you all right? Call for help.
If pads are connected to defibrillator monitor during step 1, defibrillator monitor will go on to step 4 directly.
Open the airway. Check breathing.
If pads are connected to defibrillator monitor during step 2, defibrillator monitor will go on to step 4 directly.
Begin CPR. Give 2 breaths. Stop CPR.
If pads are connected to defibrillator monitor during step 3, defibrillator monitor will go on to step 4 directly.
Remove clothes from the patient's chest. Place pad exactly as shown in the picture. Press pads firmly to patient's bare chest. Analyzing heart rhythm. Do not touch the patient. Shock advised. Charging. Press the red flashing button now. Shock delivered. It is safe to touch the patient. Begin CPR. Give 2 breaths.
Manual mode. Let's see how to use the D500 in manual mode. You can see the external paddles are placed on top of the D500. Remove the paddles from the paddle tray by pulling the paddles straight up and out of the paddle tray. D500 external paddles come with pediatric paddles included. If you want to use the pediatric paddles, depress the latch at the front of the external paddles while pulling forward on the adult paddle plate. Next, apply gel to the paddle electrodes. Put the paddles to the patient's bare chest and select the manual mode of the D500 by rotating the mode select knob. When the manual mode of the D500 is activated normally, the energy select display will be shown on the top of the screen and other parameter information will be displayed. To select the energy setting, press the Select Energy Level button and rotate the multifunction knob to the desired energy level. Energy choices range from 1 to 200 joules. To choose higher value than 200 joules, enter the service menu. And if you want to charge the energy, press the Charge button. There are 2 charge buttons on the paddle and the front panel. So there are 2 ways to release the energy. 1. Press the shock button on the front side of D500. And 2. Press the shock button on the external paddles. Please note that the shock button on the front side does not work if paddles are used. Only the shock button on the paddles works. Next, let's see how to use the synchronized cardio version, also known as sync mode. The shock delivery is more efficient when it occurs when the patient's ECG wave is passing the R wave. The sync mode allows synchronizing the delivery of the shock with the R wave of the ECG being monitored in wave sector 1. If you want to activate sync mode, press the sync soft key located at the lower right corner of the screen. You can confirm that the sync marker appears with each R wave. Monitoring mode. Now, let's see how to use the monitor mode. The D500 manual defibrillator provides the monitor mode to view the ECG waveform, the heart rate, pulse rate display, NIBP SPO2, respiration, temperature, IBP, and capnography monitoring. If you want to use the monitor mode, turn on the monitor mode by rotating the mode select knob after connecting the accessories. Then, verify that the monitor mode is activated normally. Let's take a look at the ECG monitoring. The D500 can use 3 leads, 5 leads, or 12 leads for ECG monitoring. You can see how to place the electrodes from these illustrations. Now, let's see how to activate 12-lead ECG monitoring. Press the 12-lead soft key located in the lower left corner of the screen and press the Acquire soft key to acquire the 12-lead ECG data. Then, press the 12-lead on soft key to set the 12-lead display. Here you can see how the ECG waveform display is presented on the screen. Next, we have the heart rate, pulse rate display function. The calculated heart rate, pulse rate may be derived from different sources: ECG, SPO2, NIBP, or IBP, as shown by the icon in the HR/PR numerical area. Let's take a look at the heart rate, pulse rate menu. Number 1, HR/PR source. Auto HR/PR can be chosen for HR/PR source. When HR is selected, the heart rate is measured from the ECG. When PR is selected, the pulse rate is measured from IBP, SPO2, or NIBP. Number 2, pacer detect. Pacer detection can be enabled or disabled. Number 3, filter select. Let's check the differences of filter select ranges. From 0.5 Hz to 21 Hz. Expands the range to display very low frequencies down to 0.05 Hz. From 0.05 Hz to 40 Hz, choose this mode to see just the ECG waveform monitoring. From 1 Hz to 21 Hz, generally called a filter mode, it reduces ECG waveform noise. Number 4, alarm limit. Here the alarm limits can be adjusted. Now let's continue with NIBP monitoring. Here you can see how to check the NIBP display measurements. Let's take a closer look at the NIBP menu. Number 1, inflate pressure. The inflating pressure can be set from 120 to 280 millimeters of mercury for adult and pediatric patients, or from 80 to 140 millimeters of mercury for neonatal patients. Number 2, auto measurement interval. The NIBP measurement interval can be selected as off, continue, 1, 2.5, 3, 5, 10, 15, 30, 60, or 90 minutes. Number 3, patient mode. The patient type can be selected as adult pediatric or neonatal. Number 4, alarm limit. Alarm limits can be adjusted. Next, to SPO2 monitoring. Here you can see how the SPO2 measurements are presented on the screen. In the SPO2 menu, we only have the alarm limit settings. Number 1, the alarm limit can be adjusted. Now, let's move on to respiration monitoring. Here you can see how the respiration measurements are presented on the screen. Let's see the respiration monitoring menu. Number 1, respiration. Respiration can be turned on or off. Number 2, respiration setting. The respiration rate and size can be changed. For the respiration rate, the user can select either airway or impedance for source of the respiration rate. As for size, the size can be selected as 0.5, 1, 1.5, or 2.0. Number 3, apnea alarm period setting. Off, and any value from 10 seconds to 60 seconds can be set for the apnea alarm period. When the patient's breath is not detected from the airway measurement for the selected time setting, D500 will activate an apnea alarm. Number 4, in-alarm limit. The alarm limits can be adjusted. Next is the temperature monitoring. Here you can see how the temperature measurements are presented on the screen. In the temperature menu, again, only the alarm limits can be adjusted. Now let's move on to the capnography monitoring. Here you can see how the ET-CO2 measurements would be presented on the screen. Here are the options of the ET-CO2 menu. Number 1. In ET-CO2, respiration can be turned on or off. Number 2. In ET-CO2 setting, O2 gas, N2O gas, calibration can be changed. O2 gas, N2O gas. User can select O2 gas, NO2 gas according to the situation. Calibration. When the calibration is set to enter, the ET-CO2 calibrations will be performed automatically. In scale, the user can select the scale of capno waveform. When auto is selected, the monitor will automatically set the scale upon the measurement value. Number 4. Alarm limit. The alarm limit can be adjusted. The last monitoring parameter is IBP monitoring. Here you can see how the IBP measurements are presented on the screen. Now for a look at the IBP menu. Number 1. Zero setting. When zero setting is set to enter, IBP 1 or 2 channel is calibrated. Number 2. Scale. 0 to 50, 100, 200, 300, and auto. The user can select the scale of the IBP waveform. When auto is selected, the monitor will automatically set the scale upon the measurement value. Number 3. Label set. P1, ABP, P2, CVP, PAP, LAP can be set. Number 4. Alarm limit. Alarm limits can be adjusted. Pacing mode. The pacing mode is used to deliver a pacing pulse to the heart. Pacing pulses are delivered through multifunctional pads that are applied to the patient's bare chest. The D500 can deliver pacing pulses in either sync mode or async mode. In sync mode, the D500 only delivers pacing pulses when the patient's heart rate is lower than the selected pacing rate. In async mode, D500 delivers pace pulses at the selected rate. Let's see how to use the pacing mode. First, select the pacing mode of the D500 by rotating the mode select knob. When the pacing mode of the defibrillator monitor is activated normally, the pace rate and current value will be displayed on the top of the screen, and other parameter information will be displayed. When the rate button is pressed, the color of the pulse rate value changes and can be modified. Select BPM is displayed, and by pressing and rotating the multi-function knob, you can select the desired value of the pacing pulse. The value is changed by 2 beats per minute. When the milliampere button is pressed, the color of the output value is changed and the output value can be modified. The select milliampere message is displayed, and by pressing and rotating the multifunction knob, you select the desired output value. The value is changed by 2 milliampere. When the selected value of pace pulse per minute or a value below is detected, the relevant current is delivered to the patient. Please note that the ECG cable must be directly connected from the patient to the defibrillator monitor while pacing in sync mode. If you want to activate async mode, press the async soft key located in the lower right corner of the screen. And if you want to pause the pacing, press the pause pacing soft key located in lower left corner of the screen. To resume pacing, press the pause pacing soft key again. Next, we come to tests and troubleshooting. By performing manual test, button test, and external shock test, and checking for alarm sounds and the LED condition, you are able to check the unit's condition. Manual self-test. If the user wants to perform a self-test, it can be performed by choosing the manual self-test function in the setup menu. Button test. The user can check whether or not buttons are working correctly. It can be selected with the button test function in the setup menu. By pressing the denotative buttons, you see whether this button is functioning properly. The button test can be divided into 2 types, front panel and paddles. Shock, charge, analyze, energy select, BPM, and milliampere buttons can be checked on the front panel. And shock, charge, energy up, energy down, and recording buttons can be checked on the paddles. External shock test. First, place the paddles on the paddle tray. Turn on the D500 and select the defibrillation energy by pressing the energy level button on the paddle. Charge the selected energy by pressing the charge button on the paddle, and then press the shock button on the paddle. You will be able to confirm the energy level on the display. Please note that before performing this test, make sure the paddles and the paddle tray are thoroughly clean and there is no residue, including gel, on electrode surfaces of the paddle and paddle tray. Next is troubleshooting. After finishing the auto self-test, the D500 will be turning off itself. If there was no fail, the service LED will be blinking. But if any fail was detected, the service LED will be fixed and a buzzer sound will be generated. If the LED is off, there are two possibilities. Possibility number 1, the self-test has not been performed. Possibility number 2, the self-test has been performed, but the residual of battery was dropped less than 60%. It turned off the LED and buzzer itself. If this happens, turn on the D500, connect the AC or DC power if it is not connected, and perform the manual self-test via Setup menu. LED blinking. The self-test was finished and no failure was detected. So you can turn on the D500 and use it safely. If the LED light is fixed, the self-test was finished and any failure was detected. If AC or DC power is connected, self-test result will be displayed and buzzer sound will be generated. If the D500 is using battery power only, the buzzer sound will be generated without display screen. If AC or DC power is connected, check the failed item of self-test and contact qualified service personnel or your local supplier. If the device is using battery power only, turn on the D500 and check the failed item. After that, contact a qualified service personnel or your local supplier. Event data. The D500 can save 250 event data in both graphical and tabular format. Let's see how to use the event display. Press the Patient Info soft key and rotate the multifunction knob to Event Records on the screen, and press the multifunction knob to Display. Event information is presented in tabular format for all monitored parameters. Event type, patient ID, name, age, gender, and time are displayed. The newest data appears at the top of tabular events. To scroll the event data list, rotate the multifunction knob when the event data list is displayed. NIBP event may display the latest measurement. Let's take a look at the event review display. Event information in graphical format for ECG data is displayed in a graph. The D500 displays the event information with 10 seconds after and before an event occurred. Now the 12-lead record display. The 12-lead data is displayed in tabular format. Patient ID, name, age, gender, and time are displayed. The newest data appears at the top of tabular events. To scroll the event data list, rotate the multifunction knob when the 12-lead data list is displayed. Let's see how to print data. Before printing, please verify that printer paper is loaded, and if necessary, load the printer paper. After pulling the printer door open, you can take out the paper by using the ejector. Insert new printer paper with the grid side up and push the printer door. Then press the print button. Now to the printer settings. To change the printer settings, press the Setup soft key and rotate the multifunction knob to highlight printer setting. By pressing the multifunction knob, you can select the printer settings. If print on alarm is set to on, the D500 will automatically print out the information 10 seconds before and after a physiological alarm condition is activated. When print on shock is set to on, the D500 will automatically print out information 10 seconds before and after a shock is generated. If 12-lead auto printing is set to on, The D500 will automatically print out after a 12-lead ECG is acquired. When Analyze Auto Printing is set to on, the defibrillator monitor will automatically print out analyzing data for 10 seconds after starting the analysis. And at last, let's briefly cover the maintenance of the device. The D500 may be surface cleaned by using a soft cloth dampened with a commercial non-abrasive cleaner, quaternary ammonium, 70% isopropyl alcohol, 10% chlorine bleach solution or PDI sani system. Lightly wipe the top, bottom, and front surfaces of the D500. The cleaning method for paddles and paddle plates are the same as for the D500. And please remember some tips for the battery. If the D500 has not been used for 6 months, the lithium-ion battery will need charging. To charge the battery, connect the D500 to an AC or DC power source. It is strongly recommended that D500's lithium-ion battery shall be replaced every 24 months. It has been the pleasure of Mediana to explain how to use and maintain the D500. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to email us at info@mediana.co.kr.